Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, January 31st, 2023. You know, when we think of scandals in the Christian church, we usually associate a name or a person with the scandal or a specific ministry. There are plenty to choose from. Many of us have our favorite scandals, and we always trot one out whenever the topic is mentioned. But I think the greatest scandals in the Christian church do not have names or ministries attached. I think they're so much more widespread than the outlier scandals that make the headlines. One such scandal is the idea, and it's a heresy, but it's a prevalent belief that there's some kind of changeless Christianity available. That's the idea that we can accept Christ and our lives do not change. That trusting in Jesus doesn't make a difference in the way that our lives function and we perform and we interact with people. The Apostle Paul gives some instructions to the Philippian church about this and lets them know that there is a way that we are supposed to act as Christians, in a way that we're supposed to behave and live. In Philippians chapter 1, verses 27 to 30, and I'm reading from the New Living Translation, second edition, it says, "Above all, you must live as citizens of heaven, conducting yourselves in a manner worthy of the good news about Christ. Then, whether I come and see you again or only hear about you, I will know that you are standing together with one spirit and one purpose, fighting together for the faith, which is the good news. Don't be intimidated in any way by your enemies. This will be a sign to them that they're going to be destroyed, but that you're going to be saved, even by God Himself. For you've been given not only the privilege of trusting in Christ, but also the privilege of suffering for Him. We're in this struggle together. You've seen my struggle in the past, and you know I'm still in the midst of it." He reminds us that when we accept Christ, we become citizens of heaven, representatives of heaven. We've all heard stories about the ugly Americans overseas who talk too loud and demand things that nobody else can get. And we think what a poor representative of America that some people can be. Well, Paul's kind of alluding to the fact that we need to remember that we're now citizens of heaven, and we ought to conduct ourselves in such a way that it brings honor and respect towards heaven. We are representatives of heaven wherever we go. We need to conduct ourselves in a manner worthy of the gospel, the good news. In other words, our lives ought not bring reproach upon the gospel. He describes the church as standing together in one spirit, not all fractured and divided and split asunder by political ideologies or cultural preferences, but standing together in one spirit, standing together in one purpose, recognizing that we have one purpose on this earth, and that is to glorify God, bearing fruit for His kingdom. He reminds us that we ought to fight together for the faith, that we are in a spiritual struggle, that we are struggling for the souls of men and women and boys and girls, and we need to be fighting together and working together to bring people to the kingdom, not running them off. And then he reminds us not to be intimidated. Oh, what a glorious reminder that is. That no matter what the enemy throws at us, that we can remember that God Himself will save us and rescue us if necessary. And that we do not need to be intimidated by people who want to be hateful towards us and mean and unkind towards us. We're not to be intimidated because we'll be saved by God Himself. Then he reminds them where He's been and where He's at. And he says the struggle goes on. Boy, it really does, doesn't it? He recognizes that some days it's a struggle to live the right way, to say the right things, to do the right thing. But we are God's people. We're living here on this earth right now, but we're citizens of heaven. We're just passing through this place. We've got a better home to go to, and we need to live like we represent that better home in heaven. This week, may you recognize that you are a citizen of heaven, that if you've trusted Jesus Christ, that you have a home far away from here that is better than where we're at now, and we're headed there together. God bless you.